Hello there, and welcome to, let me do my settings here. Welcome to another DCOA, Draco Council on Aging, art tutorial, okay, for our pandemic season here, right? Joan Turner, resident artist at the Draco Council on Aging and owner of Joan's Art Gallery, based in Haverhill, Mass. Okay? So today we're doing something really exciting, and for those of you who have been following, and I'm sure a lot of you have been following because this is like our 15th or 16th tutorial, absolutely awesomely good stuff. Today we're doing this sort of, okay? Now, let me see, select the microphone. Excuse me, well, I play with my computer here. All right, so this, all right, has someone's address on it. I just kind of got the idea from something online. So I think you could do that. You could just put welcome in here. This says the family name and then the number, 12167 Tower Hill Road. Okay, so you could do something like that. I think just to kind of keep it generic, we'll do kind of like a home, sweet home type thing. Okay, so what you will need is this handout. All right, so if you don't have it, take a snapshot of it, or halt your TV or whatever device you're looking at this on. Okay, you will need paper plates because we're using them as palettes to put our paint on. Okay, and if you look at this, you can see the colors that you're going to need are acrylic black, white, all acrylic paints. Okay, these are all acrylic. A green, and whatever green you have is fine. We're going to mix some yellow into it. Okay, this is another one. And the only reason I'm going to say grab some brown is in case you want to tone down anything, right? And then red, okay, for those of you who have pink, you could use pink, certainly, all right? If you're using the paint packs from DCOA, you're going to use red and mix in some white, right? Now, that is totally assuming that you want to use this color scheme. Should you decide that you don't want to use this color scheme and that you want to go with a totally different color scheme, like maybe you want all yellows or a different, maybe blue is your favorite colors here. I think I should have combed my hair, kids. That's all right, you're used to me by now. Okay, so if you decide to change the color scheme, maybe you're gonna want to keep the leaves green, okay? And again, we're gonna add a little yellow to our green leaves so we get some different types of green in there. Or you might want to make the flowers white and dark blue. Might want to make them yellow. Might want to make them purple. This is kind of pinky purple stuff, okay? So think about your color scheme beforehand. Don't try to guess as you're going along, right? So again, acrylic paint. Make sure you have paint clothes on or a smock. Acrylic paint, once it gets on you and dries, becomes very permanent. For those of you who might be new at this, cover your table and your floor. I use dollar store plastic tablecloths and whatnot when I do wine and paints and fine paints out. And right now we're in my art room, so the table, all right, has lots of paint on it already. So a little bit more is not going to make too much of a difference, right? So you will need your paints. You will need water bowls, okay? Water bowls that do not look like cups, because you'll find that as you're focusing on your picture, you go to have a drink and it ends up being your water for your paintbrushes. And I can't tell you how many times I've drank my paint water, okay? And of course you need your hot cocoa. Okay, brushes, you're gonna need brushes. Okay, so brushes, I have a good size brush here because you should pretty paint your shingle. Now these shingles come in your art packs from Turkey Council on Aging, right? And mine has sparkles on it. I don't know why, okay? So you will want to pre-paint, you know, do a couple of coats of white on here and let them dry really good. So you're gonna want a nice big brush to do that, to paint on here. And then I let it dry, and then I put a second coat of paint on it, right? And let's grab my paintbrush. You will have brushes in the paint pack. And okay, so the brushes that you're going to actually need are, you're going to need a liner brush, or at least the smallest brush that comes in your kit, because we're going to do this kind of black outline here, around here. And we may even, you know, you probably want to do home, sweet home, and we'll do it in black, all right? And you'll need a pencil, because if you're like me, you need guidelines. It's all right, we need guidelines. Okay. So a thin kind of liner brush, or the smallest one that you have. And to put our leaves on, we are going to need, if you have a flat head brush in your packages, and I believe that you do, okay, this is like a 1/2 inch. And I think that these will make nice like petals. Okay, a little bit bigger flathead brush will make some really cool leaves, right? So to kind of make it simpler, you need a large brush, a medium brush, and also a ruler, okay? Because the easiest way to put this oval on here, right, is to kind of measure. So first things first, go ahead. If you haven't already painted your shingle, give us 2 coats of white on there, all right? And let's make sure that it's dry, all right? And if it's not dry, just halt the recording for a few minutes and let it dry. Acrylic paints dry relatively fast, okay? Okay, the other thing that you will want to have nearby, in case I haven't already told you, are paper towels. Okay, so we want to paper towels nearby. All right, so again, 2 coats of white. All right, now I left this part the natural color of the shingle. You could paint that black if you wanted to. That might not be a bad idea, or you could leave it the way it is. And it actually has 2 slots here, so that you could actually put some twine in there, or something that you could use to hang it, okay? So I'm going to try to get the camera down where it needs to be so that you can see everything that's going on. Okay, let's see if that will do the trick. I think it might, okay? So this is what we're working from. We're using it as a guide. After I painted this, I just kind of wiped off any kind of stuff. I always get sparkles and all kinds of good stuff all over the place. I'm going to sit myself down, and I'm going to take my ruler now, and this is actually a T-square, and my pencil. Okay, and I just have a regular pencil, you know, art pencil, regular pencil, anything is fine. And these shingles are a little bit more than 12 inches long. But before you do that, clean all your sparkles off, just have them. And then I am going to go ahead and measure it this way, all right? And this is almost 7 inches. So half of 7 inches is 3.5. It's a little bit more than that. So I just brought the dot up to like 3 3/4. So I put a dot there so that I would know exactly where the midline was, okay? And like I said, this is about 12 inches in width. So I'm gonna line up with my dot here. And then I am going to go from the dot all the way to the 1 inch mark, and then on the other side, all the way to the 11 inch mark. So what I have is about a little bit more than maybe an inch on each side, okay? And then, so I have a dot here, and a dot here, okay? So again, we have, I'm gonna go up to my dot, where my dot is, and so I'm putting the 4 inch mark on the dot, okay? And so from here, I'm making a dot at the 1 inch, so I have 1, 2, 3 inches, and then 1, 2, 3, so another one at the 7. So we're doing 7 and 1, okay? 7 and 1, sorry, 7 and 1. So the easiest way to actually get this oval on here is just to connect the dots, okay? So I have a dot here, and I'm just going to go all the way over to the other dot. And I'm just using my pencil to do that. I'm going to turn this around, start at my dot, and just go all the way around to this dot, and then down to this dot, okay? And take a look at it. You'll know if it needs any little adjustings here and there. But for the most part, this doesn't have to be like totally perfect. Okay, but the nicer you can get it, the better. And the other way that you can do this is to kind of make a template, all right, the size that you want, and then just put it on here and just work around it, okay? So, but for those of us who don't have them, all right, this is the easiest way to do it, all right? So if you need to rewind and get the directions again, get the directions again, okay? So I'm gonna use put my pencil aside here, and I'm going to go ahead and put some white paint on my midline, okay? Now, important to know, because, okay, if in fact you make a mistake, okay, so I'm just going to cover this middle line now because I don't really need it anymore. I needed it for my calculations, but I don't really need it. I'm just taking some white paint and going over my pencil lines. And the reason that it's kind of good to know this is because if you're like me, at the end of my projects, I always seem to have a few corrections that I need to make. I made a line too big, too dark, it's in the wrong place, whatever it might be, okay? So this is how you're gonna end up correcting any mistakes that you might make, okay? You're just gonna wait till the end after everything is dry, just go over it with white paint, all right? Now, this, depending on the color that you're trying to cover, you might need more than one coat, but it's nice to know that we don't need to be perfect, okay, that we can fix this. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is put this ring on here. Okay, now the ring here is kind of a pinky purple color. You could do it black, you could do it any color you wanted to. However, I'm thinking, okay, let's put some black on up palette. Okay, and if you like me, the pink dries in here. So just take it feels like a skin almost. So I'm going to put some black on my palette, not whole bunches. I'm not sure I'll need whole bunches. Maybe I'll put a little bit more because I am going to mix it. So when you mix, you kind of want to make sure that you have enough. Okay, can everyone see my line there? See the line? So I'm going to use that as a guide. Now, like I said, I kind of cleaned up my line in the middle of it. So I'm going to flap it a little bit and let it dry out. Acrylic paint dry relatively fast, okay? And I'm sure you figured that out when you were doing your 2 coats of white, right? So I have my black. Let's move this over here. And you can add, I'm going to add some pink, all right? But I'm putting the pink in a different spot, okay? So if you don't have pink, you can mix red and white and have pink, or you can just go right into red and black, which is also kind of pretty, right? So I'm going to use this smaller brush, but I need to mix, okay? So I'm going to take most of my black. I want to leave a little on there just in case I want to play around a little bit with the color. And I'm going to put this in it. Okay, maybe go the other way. Let's put the black in here. Ah, much nicer. And okay, so I'm not mixing it all the way through. Looks kind of variegated in here. I want to leave it that way, okay, because I think it looks kind of pretty. And if you take a real close look at this, it's not a straight black, it's not a straight purple, it's not a straight pink. It's kind of a variegated type of thing. So take your smallest brush. Now I'm going to take some of the paint right off of here because I have quite a bit. Now, for those of you who become terrified having to do this, you could actually use a marker if you wanted to. But I would like to get this variegated color in there. Okay, so I'm going to dip my brush in here, and I'm going to very slowly, and I'm using my baby finger here to rest my hand. I'm going to very slowly draw my line. Okay. Okay. All right. So again, I didn't really mix the paint really well, so it's kind of coming out a nice variegated kind of color here. And I am using a small brush, but up here I'm putting a little bit more pressure on my brush so that I get a little bit of a thicker line here and there. Okay. So again, you don't need to be perfect. Okay. And this is, as a matter of fact, once we get this line on here, this border, you could actually go over it. You could outline it in magic marker if you were not happy. I have sparkles on mine. I had a children's class in here earlier today, and we were working with sparkles. So I have sparkles everywhere. Okay. So my line actually is coming out quite cool. Kind of dabbing a little bit. Your shingle, it has lines in it. It has a texture to it. So don't be nervous if it kind of comes out textured. That's okay. Okay, and again, you can use your baby finger to kind of anchor your hand so you can get a relatively straight line. Okay. Rest the baby finger on I was going to say the canvas, on the paint surface. How's that? On the painting surface. Okay. And then you will have a little bit more control over what happens with the paint. Okay. And I am taking my time. I'm not just whipping this on here. I see some people just kind of, let's get it on there really fast and see what happens. And then they spend a lot of time doing fix-up after that. Okay. So it kind of to avoid that a little bit. So I'm going to take my time, go all the way around. Okay. Take your time. There we go. Okay. Now, I'm liking that. I'm liking it. Okay, that's what I have. Right. So I'm going to take a look at this and see. Okay, I'm a little bit thin over here. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit thicker. All right. So now I have my perimeter. I have my border here. Grab just a little in here. Okay, so work your border, work your border. Okay. When you're happy with your border, okay, put your brush in the water and let's just let this sit for just a few seconds here. So spend this, let this dry a little bit, but spend as much time as you want to on it, okay? So after it dries, if you have some ragged edges you kind of want to fix up. Let's put it on the camera. You can see what's going on here. Okay, any ragged edges you want to fix, go ahead and fix those babies. Okay, and don't forget to clean your brushes, or at least put them in the water. If the acrylic paint, in fact, dries on your brushes, then they're kind of gonzola. You won't be able to use them anymore. Okay, so kind of keep them a little bit clean, right? The other thing you possibly could do with this if you wanted to is you could outline it in black, either with the paint or a magic marker, right? Whatever you're comfortable with. But we want to end up with a nice oval here. And again, you know, let's take a few minutes for just to dry out a little bit. Okay? So now, while we're letting that dry out a little bit, let's think about placement of the words here. Now, again, you can put your family name here. You could put your family name in the middle if you wanted to. More sparkles. Let me clean up my sparkles. Okay. You could put your family name here in the middle. You could put home, sweet home, all right, which is what we're going to do for this exercise, just to kind of keep it generic, okay? So again, we want to pull out our trusty ruler, and we already know that halfway is, okay, here's the 1 inch mark. So we know that halfway is like 6 inches. All right, so half of 6 is 3. So I'm going to put a 3 there. And then I'm going to go 1, 2. Okay, so this is going to be sweet over here. I think we'll put home at the 2 inch mark here and at the 4 inch mark here. So you have 3 more little lines that are going to be guidelines. Can you see that? Oh, wait. I don't know if I can get us any closer. Okay, but there's a line, there's a dot here, here, and here. Okay, so I once again going to draw a line in the middle where I want the sweet to go. Now this this middle, I'm lining up with my middle dot over here. Okay, and from my middle dot, I want to put sweet in here. So I want it to go from like 7 to 2. Okay, 7 to 2 is kind of like right there. Right, and the reason that I'm putting it kind of that low is because I want to make sure I have enough room for like my flowers and little vines and whatnot. So I'm just going to write the word sweet, okay, because I'm going to put home, sweet, home. And home is going to go at this dot and this dot. All right, so sweet is a 6-letter word. Okay, so we want 3 letters on this side of the dot and 3 letters on that side of the dot. Okay, so I'm going to just letter it in. Okay, sweet. All right, now, if you're worried that your penmanship or your printing is not absolutely marvelous, oh, sweet is only 5 letters. Okay, home, sweet, home. All right, so that means I actually want to bring all this over a little bit. Okay, so we want 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put, I want the T and over here. All right, so now I have my letters here for just for a guide. All right, so I'm going to once again use my small brush. If I can find it, and I can. Right here. And for this, I definitely, I want to use mostly black, I think, the black in here. So I'm going to use this, I'm going to use this black and the small brush, but I'm going to actually take and add just a little bit of water to this. And I'm doing that because I want the paint a teensy bit thinner so that it can work in the grooves over here. And then I'm going to letter right over. I'm going to letter over my graphite. All right. So if you don't like what you wrote here, then redo it until you do. Okay. So I am going to do this. So it's just an S. All right. And I'm going to go over it. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. You can make it fancy if you want to. I'm just going to do some straight lettering here. Okay, so this is my S. Okay, let's do the W. Okay, I'm going to make the W a little bit lower. Okay, so my S is going to be uppercase, obviously. Okay, and again, we're not necessarily looking for perfection. It'd be neat. Pretend you're back in school. Okay, and if you find it difficult to make lowercase letters, by all means, make uppercase. Okay. Okay, and I'm dipping once again in my water to keep the paint relatively thin, because if I need to, I can actually go right over it again. Okay. Okay, so here's my sweet. All right. So I think I'm going to take my brush. And now this part you can do or not do, but I'm actually just going to give us a little bit of a doohickey here. Okay. And doohickey is not necessarily the proper term for it. As a matter of fact, in class, we call them flourishes. Okay. So, show you my flourish. There's really not a wrong way to do it. See what I did to the S? Just put a couple little tails on it. Okay, and this paint, again, I'm keeping it really watery so that it can flow freely. Like free flowing. Okay, I'm not going to get too flourishy here because I have a tendency to overdo it. I know you find that hard to believe. That's all true. Okay, so these are my little flourishes. Now, once again, you do not have to add flourishes to your work. If you do add flourishes to your work and you don't like them afterwards, you absolutely can go over them with white paint once they're dry. Okay, so absolutely you just want to have fun. We just want to have a good time. Okay. All right, so again, I have a tendency to over flourish, so I might have to fix some of that. So now I think with the home, now I have my guide dots for the home. So once again, I'm just going to kind of pencil that in so I know where everything is. And I'm going to make it a little bit maybe more gentle, I'm not sure. So home, I want to center it in the middle of the suite. Okay, so I just all right. So just pencil in some guidelines, right? It does not have you don't have to flourish. You can practice on paper first if you do want to flourish. Right. This is your creation. And I'm going to line up a home on top of it with the home on the bottom. So where this H is, I'm going to start this H. And here's my guide dot. Okay. Okay, I'm lining up the O with the O, the M with the M, and the E with the E. Okay, so you could actually put lines there if you don't have faith that you can get them straight. And I'm just being very daring. Okay, so now I am going to put my pencil down. And once again, I'm going to water down this paint so it's a little free flowing. And I'm going to start with the home on the top and just very, very slowly, I'm going to put in my H. Okay. Okay, so again, just be neat. It's more important actually that you get them straight than if you decide to flourish them or make them fancy. It's actually more important that you get them straight. Okay. And take your time. Take your time. There's no rush. Okay. So if you need to stop the recording, stop the recording. I'm going too fast, going too slow, wherever it might be. Okay, again, if your paint is not flowing smoothly, then go ahead and water it down a little bit. Don't water it down too much. And if you do, you can always kind of go over it. So I have Home Sweet Home. Okay, so, and I did use my guide dots. And I'm going to have some hot cocoa here. Whoops, I put it right on my picture. Okay, and once you get your letters on there, all right, then again, if you decide you want to flourish, okay, and again, flourishes are just like little tails and things that we're going to put on there. All right, and if you're not sure, leave them off, just leave them off. They don't have to, you don't have to flourish your work. Okay, I am going to flourish a little bit, hopefully not too much this time. All right, and if your paint is like really thin and kind of coming out grayish, now would be a good time to fix it. And what's happening is while you're fixing these little tiny things on there, then you can, the rest of it is drying. So absolutely, absolutely do your thing. Okay. So Home Sweet Home. Right, and I'm going to flourish my O just a little bit. Okay. So like I said, sometimes I can over flourish. Okay, I think I definitely need to flourish that baby. Okay, Sweet Home. Now, if you don't want to flourish by putting those little tails on it, you can actually flourish just by dotting. Okay, so again, this is just a suggestion. You do not have to do anything of the sort. I'm going to, my S is very bumpy. Okay, fix those bumps. And my flourish is a little bumpy. Okay, so what I was saying to you is that you can actually, if you have a dotting tool, you can actually dot around here if you wanted to. I'm just using my brush to dot. So you can just use the very tip of the brush. The trick here is not to overload the brush and don't press down too hard. Okay, so see those little dots around the top E, right? So I'm gonna dip the other colors that are here as well and add some dots on this side. And remember, if you really, really don't like them, you can always just paint white over them. So it's always fun to experiment a little bit. Okay. So I have some dots there. Okay. And I think I would like to have some dots just around my H, just a little bit. I'm putting them kind of close together. Okay, so there's some dots around my H. And what you do to one, if you're a Virgo, you don't do it to the other one. Virgos have a tendency to be very nudgy about those things. So if you're a fellow Virgo, good. I like it. Okay, so I put some around both my H's. I'm kind of liking it. Okay, so while this is drying just a little bit, I am going to do some correcting with my white because I can see my guideline here. You probably can see it too. I'm going to actually use the white to do a little bit of correcting while this is drying. Okay, and more white. All right, so, and it's all right if you need to put more white out in your palette because you didn't quite put enough. It's okay because the paints kind of dry so fast that it's actually better to use fresh paint. Okay, so get a little fresh paint out. And I have this really huge bag, actually a gallon of white paint. This is it, my big gallon of white paint. So take a while to get it all out. Okay, so I suggest that you use your small detail brush to make the corrections. And one caveat is that we were using this to do the black lettering, okay? So make sure that you really clean the brush and that the black paint is out of it. And how do you know when the black paint is out of it? It's like when you brush on this paper, no black should come out, no gray, no black, no nothing. Okay, so we want that nice and clean. So I have a lot of stuff on here. So I'm going to use my white paint to clean it up. Okay. So again, you could clean out bumps if you wanted to. You could go over sparkles if you have them stuck to your picture like I do. Okay, you could actually round out this edge a little bit. Yeah, do a lot of stuff here. Okay, so depending on how heavy your lines are, okay, you might need 2 coats because as I'm looking at my own here, I put an awful lot of pressure on that pencil because I have lots of, you can see my pencil lines. Okay, let's do this. All right, so we're going to be careful because what I did is I ended up hitting my W, which means now I got to redo my W. Duh. Okay. Okay, guide dots. Take your guide dots out. All right. So again, think, you might want to do this twice. I'm going to have to. Okay, so the good part is that you know that you can correct anything that you don't like. Okay, and I'm going to redo my W. There's a little line right there, okay? And you can, towards the end, you'll definitely have more to do. So the writing, when you're writing with paint, it's actually called calligraphy or lettering. Okay, and it's kind of a lost art nowadays because of computer fonts. It's a lot easier to do, but we used to letter everything by hand, right? So it was still, like I said, kind of a lost art, but still a thing of beauty when you see them. It's amazing, amazing, amazing thing. Okay. And be patient with yourself. More than likely, this is the first time that you're doing something like this, I would think. So be patient. Okay. Lots of little lines. All right. And again, we're going to go ahead and continue on. Okay, I'm gonna fix my W, because I thought it was a little bit crooked, so I tried to white over it a little bit. Okay, let's do this. That's so much better. There we go. Okay. All right, so you should have your guide dots and your guideline kind of off of there at this point. Okay. So now I want to do a small line brush and some green paint. And I think I'm going to use a new palette for this. Okay. And I'm just using paper plates as palettes. These are actually regular paper plates. Some of the students have real palettes, and they're just kind of like waxy paper, or some artist palettes are made of wood or plastic. Okay, but if you're not a full-time artist, you just use something like this. And some of the students use plastic coated plates, but this is actually just a regular paper plate. Okay, so I'm going to move this one out of view for a few minutes and put this one here. And now I want to start putting these flowers in here. These here. And actually, we could actually put some of those in too. That would be nice. Okay, so with the across the bottom here, where we have more room, we could actually put more flowers or something else if we wanted to. Okay, so again, this is kind of a very open type of thing to do, and you can really, really customize it as much as you want to. So I'm actually, for the leaves, I want to do 2 different colors of green. And I can get this one open, so it won't be that color. This one is, and you can use any green. The green that came in your art pack is absolutely fine. If in fact you want it darker, you can add some brown to it. Excuse me just a minute. Thank you. I do so much talking. Sometimes I lose my voice a little. That's okay. I'm going to use this good size brush, I think. All right, so I'm going to take some yellow here, because I'm looking at these and they have some white in them rather than the yellow, but I'm going to put some yellow in. We could actually use some white too, but let's experiment just a little. Okay. Oh. Okay. Open sesame. Okay. So here's my yellow. All right, I have some white on my other palette. I decided to go ahead and use that. And now I'm going to actually take out a little brown. Let's do a little bit of brown. Okay, and the reason for the little bit of brown is I want to do a little bit of stem work here, just so I know where I'm going to put my leaves. Okay, So I'm going to take my green, and you notice that I don't take the brown and add it right into my pile of green, okay, because I'm mixing and I want to make sure that I get what I want, all right? And if I put that whole pile of green over here, and then I don't like what I mixed, well, then I have to put more green and so on and so forth. But this looks like a nice green, almost, it's a very brownish, almost like an olive green. So it's a little bit darker than this one, okay? So it's just brown and green. So mixing your greens is nice. It gives, you can have a nice, nice array of greens, right? So for right here, I think I just want to do some stem work. So I think what I'll do is add a little bit of water to this, just to thin it out, only because that shingle has a texture to it, all right? So in order for the paint to really get to where it needs to go, it really does need to be flowing enough. So I'm going to take this, and with the smallest brush that I have, I'm going to put like 2 flowers right there. So for this, I'm actually just thinking stems. Where do I want those leaves to be? Okay, so I want one there, probably have another flower here. I'm going to put another stem in here. Right, so I'm just giving myself an idea. I'm going to put 2 over here, but I think I want some leaves going here and there. And again, this is not something that you need to worry about, because we are definitely going to cover them. Okay, so another leaf here. All right, I want one coming down the side, one down here. Okay, so we have some here, some there. Right, and maybe a leaf here and a leaf there. So I'm thinking right about the middle here. All right, so all I have is a bunch of green lines, right? And the reason I have green lines, because I just want to give myself an idea about where I want those leaves to be. Let me see here. I'm going to take, I have a little bit of green on my white here. So I'm just going to take a little bit of water and just kind of clean this off. And the best time to do this is while it's wet. All right, so even though I cleaned it, there's still a bit of green on that corner. So that's going to be one of the things that I use the white to correct with. Okay, so now we want the mid-size brush. And it's the brush I actually use to mix the paint. So now I have to clean it. And I'm going to use the green to make the leaves. So I don't have to worry too much about if there's still green on the brush. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure there is. And how do I know? Because when I wipe it on the paper, it definitely is coming out green. All right. So now this, it may be something that you want to practice a little bit, all right? Because with the leaves, we're just going to kind of do a one stroke here. Okay, so we're just going to kind of do one of these, okay, like this and like this. All right, we can add a little bit of yellow to it if we want to, and you get a nice yellow leaf. Okay, oh, you didn't see that because I was out of camera. All right, let's do it again. So what I did is I picked up some of the green here, and I'm going to pick up some of the yellow. So this is called double loading your brush. And then I'm going to just kind of wiggle my brush turn it around. See how I get a nice colored leaf there? All right, so let's do it again. One part of the brush in the yellow, the other part in the green, and then we're just wiggling here till we get a leaf. Okay. So just kind of wiggling. Wiggle your brush. All right. And I'm wondering if this brush might be a little big. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. Okay. So what you're needing is a flat-headed brush. Okay. I'm just going to clean mine out. Flat-headed brush, and I'm wondering if this is going to make the leaves too big. So I switched to a smaller brush. It looks kind of like this. And do the same thing. One part dipping in the yellow, the other half dipping in the green. So my brush has yellow on one side, green on the other. Right? And then, you know, just kind of practice on your plate or another piece of paper. But you're just kind of wiggling this brush a little bit until you get something that kind of looks like this. Okay. You could go the other way as well, but so just practice a little bit till you feel relatively comfortable with what you're doing. Okay, so if that means stopping the video, then stop the video. Okay. So for when you're ready, okay, we're doing one edge of the brush in the green, the other edge in the yellow, and I'm going to use my lines. Okay, and I'm going to make a leaf. All right, so there's a leaf right there. Okay, let's try some with a little bit of white on it. Okay, so where I had the yellow, this time I'm going to dip in the white and then the green again. Okay, and this time I'm going to do it on this side. That looks very pretty, actually. I like the green and the white, and I like the yellow and the white too. Okay, so now I have a couple of leaves going on there. White and green, and I'm just kind of following my own lines here. Okay. Follow your lines so that you know exactly where you want to put your leaves. Okay, I'm going to dip. This time I'm going to go yellow and green and create here. Right, so you can see that we're starting to have some leaf work going on here, which is kind of very cool. All right, I'm going to go back to white and green, and I'm going to make a leaf right down here, I think, and another one going up here. All right, liking it. Let's put kind of a big one right here. Okay, so you're just kind of shimmying back and forth here. I'm going to put kind of a big leaf right here. And another one right here. Okay, so right now I just have a bunch of leaves. Okay, let's pick this up just a little, make sure it's smooth. So I'm going to white on one half, green on the other half, and I'm going to make one down here like this, coming up this way, and another one coming up this way. Okay. I'm wondering if I go over my boundary, what that's going to look like. let's put one like outside the circle here. Oh, I like it. Yay. All right. Sometimes you just got to experiment a little bit more. I actually do like that. I like it better than trying to just kind of contain it in the circle. I mean, I know that's what's there, but sometimes you just got to play. You just got to play. Okay, here's one out here. So I have a lot of squiggles, right? So at this point, I'm going to take my small detail brush and I'm going to go in the greenish brownish color. And again, kind of watering it down because we do have a lot of texture here. Okay, so what I can do here is put like, I can connect, I can connect some of my leaves to each other and I can make middle veins here. Okay, this leaf, I'm liking it. All right, so I'm using the brownish greenish color. And I'm just putting in some middle veins and vines. Okay, and let me see, I might even be able to get closer to you. Let's see, get up. Okay, so let me work on this bottom one here. Now see how it's like 2 shades already? So if I take my brush and just make a thin line right here. Okay, see how I can kind of connect it? Okay, same thing here. I can make a little bit of a stem, come right out here with it and connect. Okay, so see those bottom 2 leaves? Right? So there's a number of things that you can do here. You could put some veins in. I'm going to not put in so many veins, I don't think. Just little stems. I do like the little stems. Okay, so you're going to have to, like I said, because of the texture here, you're going to have to just keep that paint on the thin side. Okay, so can you see what I'm doing here to my leaves? So just taking the thinnest brush that I have, right, and going through the middle here and here. Okay, and they have a little bit of a ragged look to them, which kind of is cool. And again, that is because of the texture. Okay, so that line came out a little thick. All right, so I can either leave it that way or I can fix it. But I think I'm gonna leave it. I think we'll see. Might change my mind. I have been known to. Here's another little guy over here. All right. So these little stems and stuff going on over here, they make them look really cool. Another stem going here and here. Right? And this one maybe have a little vein work in it, maybe. Okay, so see how we have just little stems here and there. This one kind of looks lost in the sauce. So let's fix it up just a little bit. Oh, got a little too much. Oh, too much water in there. Okay. Okay, so I think I think those leaves look just lovely, right? So I'm wondering now about maybe putting some leaves in the corners here. Okay, so maybe just a little stem one. Okay, and again, you know, this is really your piece. You can do whatever you would like. I'm just going to do this over here, and then another one over here. Okay. So this is what I have. I just have one in this corner and one in that corner. Okay, and I'm going to get my leaf brush. I'm going to try to get most of the water out of it. I don't have to worry too much about getting the paint off of it because I'm just going to use more of the green again. So I think I'm going to dip in the half in the white. Okay, so half the brush is going in the white and the other half is going in the green, right? So that's what my brush looks like. And I want to have a leaf coming this way. So again, I'm just going to kind of wiggle this leaf here and then here. Okay. That's what it looks like. All right. Going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay. Half the brush in the same half, by the way. Okay. And then in the green. All right. Now we're going to do this bottom. Okay, so watch. Just going to wiggle this brush here and here. Okay, so now I have one in each of the corners here, but not here. I kind of like it offset like that. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the other one. That is put a little tiny vein in them. So again, a little bit of water on the brush. Use your smallest detail brush, or the smallest brush you have, and watch. We're going to bring this stem into, okay, into the leaf. See, pretty. Same thing on the bottom leaf. Bring your stem in. Bring the stem in. Redefine this just slightly. And there are my leaves. Ta-da! So already we have something that looks extremely cool. Even if you didn't do another thing to this, okay, it would look extremely cool. But of course, we need to put some flowers in. Okay, so I am going to go back to my white, okay, and I'm going to put my pink out too. Okay, pink, red, whatever color you decided to use for your flowers, whether it be blue and dark blue, whether it be light yellow and dark yellow, bold colors, whatever it might be. Okay, now's the time, kids. And I know that this has only them kind of across the top. So we're going to do that too. We're going to put them across the top. Yet I want to put some little ones here and then one kind of in the center because we don't have this writing down here. We've scented ours. And so that gives us plenty of room to kind of play around, right? So I'm going to go ahead and give myself some more white. All right. In order for your paint to kind of cover over some of the green, we need the green to kind of dry a little bit. Okay, so while you're getting the paint ready, we're going to kind of use more white here. Oh, that's a lot of white. Which I think I probably need. So I gave myself quite a bit of white. Okay. And then your close up your paint well here. See? So it doesn't get out. Okay, let's try it again. Oh, stuck here. Oh, it's stuck in there. This has this gallon jug has a big straw in it, but all the paint is dried on the outside here. So we can get that. Hold again, please. Thank you. All right. Okay, so now I have this white paint, and I'm going to put out my pink paint because I am going to go ahead and use the pink. Right. So I am going to put out my pink right in the same dish right here. Okay, so I have quite a bit of pink, but again, we need to kind of dab with the white first in order to cover our green. Right, so the same brush now that we were using to make our leaves, we're going to make our petals. Now with this brush, because I was making my leaves with it, there's a lot of green on this brush. So see how when I wipe it on here, we end up with green. You need to make sure all the green paint is out. Okay, even if that means stopping the recording and going and washing it, or get a different brush if you have one. Okay, so my green is not coming out green anymore. All right, so I know my brush is relatively clean. Okay, so look again here. All right, these are just petals here. So, and again, I'm going to do white petals first because I need to cover over my green because I want to put a flower here and a flower here. So I'm just going to dab this brush in the white like this. And then I'm going to go ahead and dab. And I am going to go over the perimeter here. Okay. So I have this and I want another one here. Like this. Okay. And I'm going to put a third one right here. Okay, so I'm kind of putting five dabs in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and dip the same brush without cleaning it into the pink. And I'm going to go right over my white. And actually, I'd like it to be a little darker, I think. So let's put in okay, on the bottom is where we want the darkest ones to be. So that's really light pink, and even though it's pretty, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of brown to it so that the petals underneath are darker. So here's my little bit of brown. Well, that's a lot of brown. Thank you very much. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so now I have a little bit of brown here on my dish. So I'm going to take the pink, add it into the brown. Okay, because again, I would like those bottom petals to be a little bit darker. So this is almost a mauve color, which is kind of pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and see what that looks. I do. I like it. Okay, so again, just dabbing here so that we end up with petals. Okay. Dab, dab, all right? See? Beauteous. Okay, let's do this guy. Right, so even though there are greens under there, right, we're able to cover them because they have a nice layer of white that we added on first. And now that I have that darker pink, I'm going to go back into the lighter pink and just kind of get some, I want some contrast on here. Okay, kind of liking that, kind of liking it. Very nice. Okay, so I'm just dabbing my petals on. Okay, I really, really like that. I love the color combination. Okay, so I'm going to dab back into my, let me see where you can see. There we go. Dabbing back into the white because I want to put a flower right here. Okay, so you need to have at least 5 petals and probably want a little bit more than that. So I'm going with the darker mauve color that I have here. I'm really liking. And I'm going to put another one on this side. This one's going to just kind of maybe be a smaller one. Another one right here. Another smaller one. Okay, and these have lots of like little petals and stuff on them. Okay, now I'm going to go with the lighter pink over them because I want some, you want some contrast in here. Okay, so we have lights and dark. These 3 look pretty uniform. So I want this, I'm going to make this one bigger. And try not to touch the home, but it could happen. Okay. Okay, so I made the one in the middle the biggest one. Okay. So I'm going to, once again, put that dark on there because I'm really, really liking it. And then on top of that, we can put the light. All right, I'm going to let that dry out just a little bit. I have so much paint on there that it's going to take what they call a month of Sundays to dry. Okay, so this is pretty. So again, these are just kind of dabbed on there. And you absolutely can go ahead and make them more defined, certainly. I am going to do the bottom one here. I'm going here and here. All right, and don't be afraid to, like I said, overlap your onto your leaves here, because that's kind of what makes them look pretty. Okay, so I'm going to put another one here, another one down here. Okay, putting in my white, putting in my light. Nice. So this is actually the fun part where you're just kind of doing lots of dabbing in here. All right, so these are pretty loose, but look how pretty that is. So in the handout, these petals are much more defined. Okay, so if in fact you like your petals much more defined, take your detail brush, okay, or your smallest brush, and while the paint is wet, okay, you actually can make little details. Okay, I can actually make little petals in here, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. stand up. So I'm going to take these, right? So we can make little tiny petals in here. If you like them very, very defined, such as the way they are in the picture, you can, with a detail brush, make them very defined. Okay. And you can actually do this by letting them dry out a little bit first also. Okay, so see how defined those are? Then, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and define them further. Okay, I'm a little bit partial to the more free look. Okay, but we definitely we can go that route. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more pinky pink in them, bring out some of that pink. But this, in this instance, you're actually working with kind of each petal in through here. Okay. So where I might want to do a little bit more of that is up here. These really got mushed. I like it. Okay. All right. So play around, have a good time, sign your work when it's dry. When it's nice and dry, if you have any areas that you want to fix or correct, all right, to go ahead and do it. Like I have that little green area over there. I'm just going to take some white paint and go right over it. Okay. Anywhere else? Anywhere else? Any papers? Okay. So we're going to call this baby done. Okay. And let's take a look, see what we got. So our color scheme, we followed the color scheme of this, and we kind of made it our own as far as the printing and whatnot on there. But again, you know, you could put your family name here where the suite is. You could put welcome. Okay, you could put welcome in the middle and make that as big as you want. Okay, this is your artwork. Have a good time with it. Play around with it. Have an awesomely good time with it. Okay, so I am going to take this opportunity now to let you know we are done. This is it. This is our beautiful piece. And if it's a gift for someone, put their name in there. Okay. Don't forget to sign your work. All right. And this is a good spot down here to kind of sign it. Don't forget that you can hang it. All right. By these, you can put some twine, some yarn. You could braid yarn or twine or do some macrame type of thing here. Okay. So I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed doing it for you. Remember that the Drake Council on Aging is sponsoring this. They're making this possible. And the wonderful folks there allow us to share it. We're sharing with BATV, the Greater Hill Arts Association, and just on Facebook, whoever wants to try and follow along, you will have a blast, okay? And don't forget the hot cocoa. All right, so I have had people call me. How did you mix this paint? How did you do this? How did you do that? Totally, awesomely, willingly. We can talk about it. If you have a problem and you want to discuss it, Joan Turner of Joan's Art Gallery, 978-807-7608 is my cell phone number. Okay, so you can call me if you have a question about the tutorial. Look forward to our next tutorials. And if you're wondering which ones we've already done, the most recent ones are Angel in Your Pocket. And even though I'd love to actually show you the stone, I gifted her to someone. We did a mandala, we did a winter's tree, and we're going to do a poured painting, right? Those always come out different for everyone, even though you're using the same paint. And that's kind of the fun part of it, because you definitely you only have so much control over a poured painting. Let me see if I have one to show you. Okay. This is one I made some time ago. Look at that. Okay, and this is part of a 3-part. All right, so there's another one of these, and then there's a round mandala one that I put gemstones on and some crystals, because it is in fact a meditation wheel. All right, so again, you're the artist, whatever you can think of, use your imagination, and your imagination, as far as you can stretch it, like an elastic. Just keep going, right? So Joan Turner of Joan's Art Gallery, Jonissa, Joa, and as in Nancy, S as in Stephen, A at Comcast.net. If you want to email me, you can do that. The awesomely good people at the Drake Council on Aging, even though the center is not open for events and stuff like this, because we used to do this in-house. The staff is in the building and still providing Meals on Wheels. If you need rides, if you need any help at all, give them a call. Drake Council on Aging, and they are in Drake. 951 Mammoth Road. Okay, like I said, the center's not quite open yet, but as people are able to be vaccinated and whatnot, I think we're getting closer, all right? Because we used to do monthly fun and paints there and all that good stuff. But give them a call if you need anything at all, because if they can't help you, they know someone who can. They care about you. Okay, I care about you. All right. So have fun, stay safe, and hopefully I will see you soon and in person. Okay, let me find and button. Good night, everybody. It is night. Always have fun.